Hi, I'm Hilly Victoria and welcome back to my crime and policing channel. In today's session, we are going to be looking at legislation. Ooh. Now, I know how much you guys love listening to law and not all the true crime stuff. In fact, do you know what? I get my biggest hits, or I think that's what they call where people look at your channel, on UK policing law stuff. Cool, thanks guys. I've got 93 subscribers. I'm so excited about that. You've got no idea. Generally, I thought it was just me and my granddad who were on this, but I'm glad that there's more people on this journey with me. Okay, we're going to look at legislation in relation to criminal damage. And I don't mean those trousers from the 90s that were proper baggy, that like when you walked outside, they just soaked up all the moisture. If you don't know what I'm talking about, right, get on Google and have a look at them. They were like the coolest trousers, or at least I thought they were. I had those big baggy black ones, got chains and that on. Anyway, moving on swiftly. So we're going to look at simple damage today because it's quite a big act really, and it goes on to things like aggravated and stuff like that. We're just going to start with section 1 with the simple damage. The Criminal Damage Act 1971, section 1, a person who without lawful excuse destroys or damages any property belonging to another, intending to destroy or damage any such property, or being reckless as to whether any such property would be destroyed or damaged, shall be guilty of an offence. So, in basic terms, that means that without any reason or lawful excuse, you've damaged something that isn't yours, whether you've destroyed it or just damaged it. Yeah, don't do it, guys. So, when we talk about destroys or damages, then that can be quite easy to describe. So, let's say I've got something made of glass or something. I don't know. I've got a lovely glass bauble that it's worth about £1,000. I don't know. I don't have things that expensive in my house. I don't know how much Fabergé eggs cost. Let's say one of those. And you smash it. And there's just fragments of Fabergé everywhere, right? There's no amount of super glue is going to fix my Fabergé egg. You just destroyed that egg. So when you destroy something, you're rendering it completely useless and you cannot fix it. Destroyed. Makes sense, right? So if you've destroyed it, gone, poof, destroyed. Damaged, however, is a little bit more fluid. And I mean that because it doesn't have to be permanent damage. So destroyed is gone in it. It ain't no amount of super glue fixing my Fabergé egg. To damage something, it doesn't have to be permanent. Let's say I'm back on the egg theme. Let's say you egg my windows. Don't egg my windows. Let's say you egg my windows, right? That's criminal damage. It's not permanent, but it's still criminal damage. Make sense? So it doesn't have to be permanent damage. And for simple damage, we look at this law. So if the value of the damage is less than £5,000, it'll be a summary. It'll be like, it's actually an either way offence. So an either way offence means that it can go to the Crown Court or the Magistrates Court. So if the value is less than £5,000, it will be held in the Magistrates Court. If the value is more than that, it would be in the Crown Court. I hope that makes sense. If you've not done that yet in your police training, don't worry. Quickly, there's 3 different types of offences. You've got your indictable only, which is your big ones, so your serious offences like murder, etc. Either way, could be either way, depending on the severity of it. So criminal damage is a prime example of that. And then your summary only offences are where you'd go to the Magistrates Court straight away, which is most of your driving offences, like common assault, as long as no one's been badly injured and stuff like that. That's your 3 categories. This one sits in the middle as an either way offence, sometimes called indictable, not to be confused with indictable only. So either way, and that depends on the severity of what's happened. If it's racially aggravated, however, it would go to Crown Court because, you know, nobody likes hate crimes. Anyway, I'm going off on one again. So let's go back to our thing. So destroys or damages, we've done that. Property, and this is similar to the Theft Act, not exactly the same, but similar. And I'm going to read this off as well to make sure I get it exactly right for you. So the property in this act means property of a tangible nature. So where you can touch something tangible, you can touch it, whether real or personal, including money and including wild creatures which have been tamed or are ordinarily kept in captivity, any other wild creatures or their carcasses, if but only if they have been reduced into possession or in the course of being reduced into possession, but not including the 4 Fs, so mushrooms, fruit, foliage, flowers. So you remember those from the Theft Act. If we look at the wild creatures bit, in the Theft Act I covered about my little hedgehog, Hedgie. So say I've tamed a little hedgehog and he lives in his little hedgehog house in my garden and he lives there now, I've tamed him, he's mine. And then someone damages Hedgie, they've damaged my property because Hedgie now belongs to me. He's part of my family, guys. For this act as well, pets and farm animals are included. Horses being mutilated would, in addition to the offence of cruelty itself, amount to criminal damage. Interesting stuff, right? Why horses and not anything else? I don't know. So let's say when it goes back to carcasses, I know, let's imagine I've got a big stag's head or a moose head above my fireplace. I don't have a moose head above my fireplace, by the way. And someone draws a massive tash on it in yellow paint. They've damaged that because it's mine. That moose head is mine. Okay? Hope that makes sense. So we've got destroys or damages property. So belonging to another, right? Doesn't belong to you. That's not hard, is it? Belonging to another. It's not yours. You've got no rights to it. Like, someone's got custody or control of it, having any proprietary right or interest, having a charge on it. So let's say you're in your parents' house or you're in a rented accommodation, you've got a landlord or something, you kick the door in or you smash the windows, that's criminal damage. Even though you live there, other people have got rights to that, haven't they? Make sense? Hope so. Right, okay, good. Now I'm going to go back to lawful excuse. So let's just recap the first bit of that legislation again. So a person without lawful excuse destroys or damages any property belonging to another. So lawful excuse, there are 2 things we think about with lawful excuse, and that's permission and protection. So you might believe you've got permission to destroy that property. So you can damage my garden, criminal damage, you can damage my garden, that's my land, right? I bought this house, that land is mine, paid all them bits off and everything, land registry. You go into my garden, you dig it up, without my permission, that's criminal damage. If, however, I decide I want my garden redoing and you dig it up, that's not. Protection, so let's say my neighbour's off on holiday to Spain. I don't think they are, you know, I've seen them this morning. Let's say they are on holiday to Spain and I notice there's water coming from the front of their door. I'm like, oh, something's happened inside there. I need to go turn the water off. If I break into that house to turn the water off and protect their property, then you've got a reasonable excuse there. Okay, cool. So the next bit then says intending to destroy or damage any such property. So you want to do it, or being reckless as to whether any such property would be destroyed or damaged. So let's talk about being reckless. Let's say that you're playing football on the street outside my house. You're playing football. You can see there's like houses over there. If you count, there's houses on that side of the road. My house is here. You're throwing rocks or playing football. You're kicking it against, I don't know, a wall, and it goes through the window. You're being reckless because you know that the chances of you kicking that window, it could happen, couldn't it? Do you know what I mean? Let's say you're playing cricket on a field next to a lovely greenhouse and your ball goes through the greenhouse window. You're being reckless because the risk is there. You can see the risk. You know the risk is there, but you're going to do it anyway. You're being reckless. Don't be reckless, kids. Okay? So that's being reckless. There's also the doctrine of transferred malice as well. So let's say that you throw a rock at my window and it misses, it hits my neighbour's window, even though you meant to hit my window, say it's my house, I want to hit my window. I don't know why I'm doing that. But I miss and I hit my neighbour's window, that's criminal damage. Because even though I didn't intend to do it, I was reckless. It's transferred malice, it's still happening, it still happened. Okay, so does that make sense? I hope so. So I'm going to put some examples now on my screen about what is criminal damage. So this is criminal damage. This is criminal damage. This is also criminal damage. You might see writing on bus stops and stuff. That is criminal damage. This is criminal damage. Damage, damage, damage. It's all damage, right? Sounds like a really bad song. Okay, before we move into aggravated damage, I'm going to read the Act legislation one more time. Section 1 of the Criminal Damage Act 1971, just to help us consolidate that. So a person who without lawful excuse, remember those 2 Ps, permission and protection, Destroys or damages. It doesn't have to be permanent. So destroy means you've completely obliterated it. Damages doesn't have to be permanent, okay? Any property belonging to another doesn't belong to you. It belongs to somebody else, or somebody else has got that care of control of it. You've intended to destroy or damage any such property, or you've been reckless. So you don't care if that property gets damaged in what you are doing, and you know the risk is there. You can see the risk, you perceive the risk, but you still done it. And as to whether such any property will be destroyed or damaged, you're the guilty of an offence. It's not that hard, is it? As usual, I'm going to talk about a case because you know I love talking about things that make it real. And I've given a couple of examples already in this, but there's one case, one story that hit the news, which is kind of funny, but also very gross. And there was a point behind it, a political movement behind this, by the way. And that is when in France, some farmers had had enough of their government not listening to their concerns, not helping them promote the Eat French campaign, not helping them to, you know, get good prices for their food, and they kicked off. And what they did is they dumped hundreds of tons of manure, in the streets and sprayed slurry all over a city building. Right, that's like poo and all sorts all over in a big massive protest. The dirtiest of protests, right? But it is criminal damage because although it's not permanent, because you can wash the poo off and it stinks and that, but it's not permanent, it's still criminal damage. So there you go, there's a little case for you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it made sense. Any questions, pop in the chat below. Please subscribe to my channel because it really does help. Thank you to all those who are already subscribing. It means the world to me. Thank you very much. Bye.